Revealed, Millionaire'S incredible journey after Fiancée'S shocking display of narcissism. Alive, Jake stood at the entrance of the community hall, where the smell of fresh pies and laughter filled the air, his heart racing not just from excitement, but from the pressure to impress. He worked tirelessly to turn his family's farm into $1 million enterprise, all while maintaining the values his parents instilled in him: hardworking, humble, and always willing to lend a hand. Yet here he was, about to step into a nightmare. Melissa, his glamorous fiancée, swept into the room. All eyes landed on her. She wore a dazzling gown that sparkled like diamonds, an ostentatious shimmer that felt out of place in their close-knit Midwestern town. Jake smiled, hoping her beauty would shine with the grace of their shared vision for a future together. But the moment she took the microphone, everything shifted. "Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. This is such a great opportunity for you all to support a worthy cause. But really, let us talk about the wedding." Her voice cut the air, an echo of selfishness that sent murmurs through the community. Jake's heart sank. The whispers behind him were hard to ignore. What about the charity? And this isn't about her. At that moment, Jake's mind raced as flashes of his parents' teachings flickered before him: honor, community, humility. Melissa's dazzling smile turned cold as she reveled in attention, oblivious to the disappointment spilling across faces. As he glanced at his family, sheepish gazes soaked in disbelief swept across their faces. What had he done? The charity was meant to celebrate a collective effort, to spotlight those who sacrifice for their community. But all that glimmering ambition from Melissa turned the hall into a spectacle that shrouded the very values he held dear. Anger bubbled inside him, and he found himself clenching his fists. As voices grew louder in scorn and disbelief, a wedge began to form between him and the woman he thought he loved. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As the echo of her chatter faded, Jake turned away and sought refuge at the Veterans Center, where the air hung heavy with stories of honor and sacrifice. Here, the stories pulled at his heartstrings, rattling him deeper than he ever expected. He soaked in the resilience of those who lived through battles, both abroad and within, and suddenly, wealth and status seemed no more than frivolous boasting. Yet then came another voice. A business opportunity dangled in front of him like candy for a child. The hustle whispered sweetly, promising grandeur and fame. Ambition clawed at his insides. Wealth or integrity? The question poisoned his thoughts, bathing him in guilt as his moral compass spun. And then, as if conjured by fate, Melissa returned, her eyes sparkling with a blend of nostalgia and hope, ready to charm her way back into his world. Memories of laughter echoed between them, tugging at his heart. Jake stood frozen, trapped in a storm of longing and realization. He breathed deep, feeling the weight of his decision crush against him. Would he choose the warm embrace of his values, or the rush of ambition calling from the distance? The sun dipped low, casting golden rays over the farm. Decisions lingered in the air. The answers remained just out of reach, leaving Jake on the edge of uncertainty, the twilight mirroring his tumultuous emotions. Jake watched Melissa approach, her beauty striking like a lightning bolt against the backdrop of the community hall. There was an elegance to her movements, each step a carefully rehearsed part of her performance. He wanted to believe she could change, to shake free of the weight of her own image. Yet as she reached him, a smile plastered on her face, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was staring into a mirror reflecting someone he didn't recognize. "Hey, I'm really sorry about that," she said, her tone bright, yet lacking any real depth. I just got a bit carried away, you know? Everyone seemed so excited. She placed her hand on his arm, soft and inviting, but the warmth didn't reach the core of his heart. Excited for the charity, he replied, his voice barely more than a whisper. Not your wedding plans. Her smile faltered for the briefest moment, revealing a crack in her polished surface. Come on, Jake. You know how important this is for me. We're about to step into a new world. Don't you want that? He did want that as a vision of success through meaningful work, not as a shallow spectacle that cast aside the very people who had supported him all these years. The laughter and welcoming voices from before slipped away, replaced by the echoing confidence of his own conscience. Melissa, this isn't just about us. The words slipped out before he could stop them. He felt the tension zipping through the air, but he forged ahead. It's about everyone who has put their blood, sweat, and tears into this community. You've got to see that. Her expression hardened, brows knitting together in disbelief. Really? You're actually going to sit there and lecture me about community? It's not a lecture, he paused, raking a hand through his hair, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. It's just I feel like I'm losing sight of why I work so hard. It's about us giving back. It's not a stage for your next big entrance. She crossed her arms, the spark that once seemed romantic now igniting a clash. You sound just like your parents. Always so supportive of everyone else. What about you and your dreams? Jake inhaled sharply, his heart pounding with her accusation. My dreams are tied to my family, to this community. They raised me to care for them, Melissa. A wave of silence stretched between them. Friends and acquaintances mingled nearby, unaware of the turmoil playing out just a few paces away. He could hear laughter and chatter, the soft strains of country music playing in the background, but it felt like they were on another planet. Melissa's shoulders dropped, a veneer of confidence slipping away. I just thought I wanted something different. Something special. Is that so wrong? It hurt to see the vulnerability beneath the bravado. It made him want to comfort her, to reassure her, yet anger wrapped around his heart like a suffocating vine. It seems wrong to put yourself first when others need your support. Her eyes glistened, a storm behind them brewing. Then perhaps we're both wrong for each other. Jake's chest clenched, words stuck like thorns in his throat. The weight of their differences hung heavy, but he found no room to flex the sting of doubt. The room spun around him, and suddenly, he felt more lost than ever. Was it too late to turn back? Could he reconcile love for her with love for his values? He searched for an answer but found only shadows in the fading light. As they stood, the two of them wrapped in their indecision, a familiar face peeked through the crowd. It felt like destiny, or perhaps a last-ditch effort to mend what was broken. Nearby, his childhood friend Sam waved him over, eyes wide with urgency. Jake, you've got to see this. A flicker of hope mixed with fear filled Jake's heart. Could this be the distraction he needed, or something more? He turned back to Melissa, searching her face for an answer, his own emotions raw and exposed. The sound of music faded, and everything felt suspended in time. Would he risk everything for a glimpse of clarity? The weight of the moment pressed heavily on him. With a deep breath, Jake stepped forward, his mind racing. What if? A new path opened, but he had no idea where it might lead. Jake's heart pounded as he walked toward Sam, the crowd around him blurring into a swirl of colors: tablecloths, balloons, and warm summer lights that flickered above like stars against the night sky. Sam's urgency was infectious, pulling him away from the tension that had brewed just moments before. Over here, Sam called, his excitement bubbling like a soda pop just shaken up. Jake followed, the vibrations of the lively event mixing with his thoughts, straining to find a balance between the stirring hope his friend radiated and the looming shadows of his conversation with Melissa. As Jake reached Sam, he took a moment to catch his breath. "What is going on?" he asked, surprised by how eager he felt to redirect his focus. "Look." Sam pointed towards a cluster of people gathered by the stage where a local artist was preparing for a performance. The artist, a young woman with wild curls and a vibrant dress, was known for her soulful songs. But the real spectacle was the large canvas that stood beside her, bright colors splattered across it, though the piece felt unfinished. "The mural. It's about the community, Jake. She is working on a piece that tells our story," Sam said, eyes wide with wonder. "She wants everyone's input. You have to see this." Jake squinted at the canvas. There was something about it messy and beautiful that reflected everything he loved about this town. Each brushstroke seemed to capture a piece of their lives, the laughter, the struggles, the hopes. As the artist began to play, her music rang out like a beacon, pulling in those around her. But as he marveled, a nagging thought pulled at him. This was where he wanted to pour his energy, to commit his heart. But could he truly make space for both community life and the glitzy world Melissa sought to enter? "Jake." Sam's voice broke through his reverie. "You need to help her with this." "Help her? But how?" he asked, glancing back at Melissa, still standing a little distance off, her figure now just a shadow under neon lights. "Use your voice. You've always had a way of rallying people. This mural, it could bring everyone together. You can't let anything hold you back," Sam encouraged, his conviction steady. Jake took a deep breath, the artist's song weaving through him like a thread binding him to something far more significant than personal ambitions or squabbles. He could feel the strain in his chest loosen, even if just a little. Slowly, he turned back to Melissa. She looked lost, drawn into her own thoughts, the spark of life slowly dimming in those stunning eyes. What if he could bridge the gap? What if they could find a way to merge their dreams? "I'll think about it," Jake told Sam, a flicker of determination lighting within him. He began to approach the mural project, every step shifting his perspective. As he made his way through the crowd, the artist glanced at him, a soft smile lighting her face. "This is a community, right? Let us see what everyone has to say." Jake started to feel the grip of doubt loosen a little more. Perhaps if they could all contribute, he could find common ground, a path to a future that felt right. But in the back of his mind, he couldn't shake the image of Melissa, a once glimmering star now dimmed. Would she be willing to meet him halfway? He turned back to see her talking to someone else, the warmth in her voice a stark contrast to their earlier conversation. "What do I do now?" he wondered. A flood of uncertainty crashed over him again, as deep as any ocean. Just then, he heard a gathering hush as the artist set down her brush and called for attention. "Everyone. Let us create something amazing together." Jake looked from the canvas back to Melissa, a sliver of hope battling with the fear that they might be growing apart instead of closer together. Could this moment of unity spark something new between them? His heart raced at the prospect, but uncertainty nagged like a distant thundercloud. Would reaching for this new opportunity reveal a path that could reunite them, or would it fracture their already tenuous connection? As he stepped closer to the canvas, a thought struck him. Was it time to take a leap of faith, to put everything he believed in on the line? Behind him, Melissa's laughter vibrated through the air, and his chest tightened. Would he dare to risk his heart once more? The artist clapped her hands, pulling everyone's attention back to her. "All right. Let us start with ideas. What does this community mean to you?" Her eyes glimmered with excitement. Jake felt the tightness in his chest ease as he absorbed the energy around him. One by one, people began to step forward, sharing thoughts and feelings, memories flooding into the space like a river breaking a dam. "I raised my kids here," shouted an older woman, her voice warm and welcoming. "Every corner of this town has a story." "We came here last summer," added a young couple, their fingers intertwined. "Our first vacation together. We fell in love with this place." Jake found himself smiling, the stories echoing his own. Each shared moment was a thread weaving a tapestry of community. He took a step toward the canvas, fueled by the lively conversations. Then he looked back at Melissa. She was still talking, her laughter bubbling over, but her gaze was distant. His heart sank as he wondered whether she'd be part of this moment. Maybe it was too late. "Jake, what are you thinking?" Sam nudged him, pulling him from his thoughts. I think we should put up photos of the town." He dared to speak, grabbing the attention of the small gathering. "Pictures from different seasons, events, things that show what we love about our home." "Yes. That's brilliant." The artist's voice danced in excitement. "Everyone can bring in their memories. We'll incorporate them into the mural." A spark of enthusiasm ignited in Jake. He could make this happen. He could connect people, create something beautiful. But the tugging worry about Melissa lingered, like a shadow refusing to fade. Just then, he turned around. Melissa stood closer now, a curious look on her face. A tiny part of him buzzed with hope, but then he recalled how she had looked earlier, conflicted, her own dreams pulling her in another direction. "Hey, do you want to help?" he asked her, his voice slightly shaky. Maybe this could bridge the gap he felt widening between them. "Me?" she asked, surprise washing over her features. "Yes. I know we haven't talked in a while, and you're busy. But this could be fun." Her eyes sparkled as she stepped closer, and for a moment, he felt as if the world had narrowed to just them, full of possibility. "I'd love to." Jake's heart swelled. There it was, the flicker of the connection he had been yearning for. They could collaborate on this. They could find common ground through art, just like they had in countless days spent dreaming under the sun. "Great. Let's do it together," he said, his smile genuine now, the uncertainty beginning to peel away. As they talked, sharing ideas that flowed like the vibrant colors around them, Jake felt the divide between them softening. Sam watched, grinning like a proud coach witnessing a game turn in their favor. But in the back of Jake's mind, a small voice whispered worries. Could it last? Would this shared passion be enough to weave together the different paths they were both on? A hush fell over the group again as the artist began to lay down the first strokes on the canvas, the sound of paint meeting fabric echoing like a heartbeat. Jake and Melissa worked side by side, exchanging laughter and occasional brushes of their hands, sending warmth through him. As the mural began to take form, a wave of energy surged through Jake. But with each stroke, doubt lingered, waiting for the perfect moment to resurface. Would it truly bridge their worlds or create a new rift? Then Sam shouted, grinning, "Let's do a group photo for the mural. Capture this moment." Jake glanced at Melissa, a thrill surging through him. This could be a memory, a snapshot of joy amid uncertainty. But as she pulled away to gather others, he felt that familiar shadow creeping back. Would this joy be fleeting? Could they overcome the barriers built of ambition and dreams? He took a deep breath. Whatever happened next would require vulnerability, maybe even a leap of faith. Jake turned to the crowd as they organized, anxiety and exhilaration twisting in his gut. Was he ready to risk it all for something that felt so precious yet fragile? The question loomed as the camera flashed, capturing faces alight with hope and community spirit, that moment when everything balanced on the edge between dreams and reality. Would they find out how to navigate both their worlds, or would it all come crumbling down once more? The camera click momentarily silenced the crowd, a flash of shared joy frozen in time. Jake felt the warmth of the connection with Melissa linger, yet the shadows of his doubts continued to swirl. He watched as she returned, laughter bubbling once more as they joined their community in painting memories on the mural. "Look at that!" she exclaimed, pointing toward a young boy, joyfully painting a bright red sun. "We should definitely include a sunrise in our mural." "Or a sunset," Jake chimed in, the corners of his mouth lifting. "It could show the end of a day full of memories." "Both," she countered, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. "We need to capture every moment, every feeling." For the first time in weeks, Jake felt hopeful. He darted his gaze across the crowd, now filled with people pulling out photos from their wallets and bags. The stories they shared breathed life into the mural. He got caught up in their nostalgia, lost in the laughter and chatter that wove around him. Then he felt her presence beside him, an easy comfort he had long missed. "This is incredible," Melissa said softly, a hint of wonder in her voice. They were side by side, arms occasionally brushing as they painted. "Yes, it is," he admitted. "But I can't shake the feeling that even this might not be enough." She turned to him, a frown creasing her brow. "What do you mean?" "It's like even being here, doing this, there's still this weight hanging between us. Like we're both headed in different directions." Jake could feel the lump in his throat forming, vulnerability washing over him. Her expression softened. "Jake, look at all these people. Look at what we're creating together. It's not about just us. It's about everything we love. We'll figure it out." Her reassurance sent a warmth spreading through him, but the nagging worry still lingered. Could a mural really capture their tangled emotions, or were they at risk of losing each other in the process? As the sun dipped lower in the sky, the vibrant colors on the canvas seemed to reflect their emotions, bold splashes of hope mixed unexpectedly with swathes of uncertainty. Jake grabbed a brush, dipping it into bright blue paint, and added a wave to the mural. "This will remind us of summer days, splashing in the lake," he said, inspired by his memories, yet still hoping to anchor their shared dreams in it. Melissa took up her brush and began forming trees around the sun. "And these trees will symbolize strength. Or stability," he suggested, his heart racing as he leaned closer to her, drawn in by their collaborative process. Melissa glanced up, their eyes locking, and Jake felt his breath hitched. There was something crucial in this moment, a recognition that both of them needed to acknowledge. They were creating something beautiful amid the uncertainty, and the warmth growing between them made him want to dive deeper. "Jake, what do we do after this?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper, almost hidden beneath the laughter surrounding them. His heart sank a little. The question loomed, heavy with implications. He knew they were both at a crossroads. But before he could respond, Sam called out from across the crowd, "Less talking. More painting. We need to make this a masterpiece." Melissa chuckled, lightening the moment, but Jake felt that heavy question still resting between them. The laughter and chatter swirled around them, but within, Jake felt the weight of possibility, even when the answer seemed unclear. As they painted the last strokes, colors blending beautifully, Jake's heart raced. Would this mural, this moment of community, ever be enough to bridge their dreams? The clock was ticking, and the next few days would be vital. They stood on the edge of something significant, both thrilling and terrifying, but he knew they had to confront that uncertainty head-on, daring to embrace what lay ahead, together. Would they find harmony in their differing dreams, or would the mural symbolize a bittersweet farewell? The sun was nearly gone, casting hues of orange and purple over the mural they had created together. People gathered closer, eyes glimmering with excitement as they admired the vibrant scene unfolding on the wall. Jake stepped back, congratulating himself for being part of something so magnificent, but his gaze instinctively darted back to Melissa. She stood there, paint speckled on her cheeks, a storm of emotion swirling in her expressive eyes. He could see the doubts reflected there, the shadows he'd felt creeping back into his heart. "Jake," she called softly, stepping away from the mural and edging closer to him. "Can we talk for a second?" Her tone was earnest, a shift that sent a wave of unease through him. "Sure," he replied, trying to maintain the lightness of the moment even as anxiety crept in. They stepped away from the crowd, moving toward a quieter corner where backyard lights twinkled like stars. "I can't help but think about what you said earlier," she began, searching his face for understanding. "About the weight between us." He nodded, the lump in his throat returning. "I just feel like we're not on the same page anymore." Melissa took a deep breath. "It scares me too. I love what we're building here, but I don't want to pretend like everything is perfect. It feels like we're trying to paint over something that needs more attention." "Like what?" Jake's heart raced, a mix of fear and anticipation stirring within him. She hesitated, her fingers fiddling with the paint on her shirt. "I don't know. Maybe it's about the future. I want to travel, explore the world." But she paused, taking a step closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know what you want." Her honesty pierced through him like an arrow. "I don't want to lose you. But I've always felt this tug-of-war inside of me. I want to stay, but I also feel this pull for something bigger." He could see the conflict in her eyes, the worry that perhaps he could be the one to hold her back. "It's okay to want different things," Melissa said, her voice softening. "But what if that is what tears us apart?" Jake's heart sank. He had always feared that their dreams, while beautiful, might lead them in opposite directions. "We can still cherish the memories we've made, even if we choose differently, right?" Her laughter was tinged with sadness. "But what if the memories are just a reminder of what we lost?" The festivity around them seemed to dim, the laughter and chatter of their friends fading into the background. Jake felt a rising tide of despair. Would they stand together, or would they allow their dreams to pull them apart? Barely able to contain the storm brewing inside him, Jake took a breath. "Maybe we should be honest about what we want, without fear. It could change everything." Melissa's gaze searched his, weighing something heavy in the air. "What if honesty is too bitter? Then we find a way to make it sweet again," he replied, burning with the urgency of their shared moment. All around, the party continued, carefree and loud as people celebrated, not knowing the storm brewing right between them. Jake's head swirled with thoughts of how to bridge that gap, how they might shift from distant dreams to a united vision. What if their truth could lead to deeper understanding, or, perhaps, a painful goodbye? As the last light of day faded, an unwelcome sense of finality washed over him. Would uncovering their truth bring them closer, or would it be the very reason they could not stand together any longer? The night hung heavy, the future uncertain, begging for resolution. The air seemed to thicken around them, filled with unspoken words and feelings that felt heavier than the fading light. Jake glanced at the mural, its colors vibrant against the dimming sky, a mockery of the uncertainty brewing inside him. "I guess we need to figure out what we want," he said finally, more to himself than to her. Melissa shifted her weight, her gaze tracing the ground as if it could offer the answers they were desperately seeking. "What if we can't find a way? What if we are just meant to drift apart?" He wanted to reach for her, to hold her in the warmth of the moment, but they were too far apart. "I can't accept that. We've built so much together." His voice shook with emotion. "I don't believe it's over, not yet." "It's not about giving up," she replied fiercely. "It's about being realistic. Sometimes love isn't enough. We have our own paths to consider, and our dreams." Her voice broke, and he noticed the tears glistening in her eyes. "Dreams can change," he said, trying to soften the distance between them. What if we stayed open to each other? We can explore those dreams together. Melissa looked up, her eyes reflecting a flicker of hope. You really think we can do that? I want to try, he said, stepping closer. The weight of uncertainty was still there, but he felt a small glimmer of resolve igniting inside him. Maybe we can make room for both of our dreams, travel together, explore. We could start small. A cautious smile returned to her face, lighting up her features like the fading sun. A road trip to that art festival you mentioned. It could be a start. Yes. Just think about it, two artists exploring new places, new inspirations. It might be exactly what we need, he replied, the vision of adventure blooming between them. What if it changes everything? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper again. Maybe that is what we need, a change. But we have to promise each other to stay honest. No more painting over issues. We face them together. She nodded slowly, the tension easing just a little. I want that. But it won't be easy. Nothing worth having ever is, Jake replied, taking her hand, feeling the warmth spread through him. Just the simple act felt like a bond more significant than the clouds threatening to gather above them. The night fully enveloped the world around them, and the distant sounds of celebration faded into a comforting hush. But within that calm, chaos still lay just beneath the surface, and Jake could feel it at the back of his mind. What if we can't come back from this? Melissa asked, her doubts resurfacing. He squeezed her hand tighter. We won't let fear dictate our choices. Together, we can navigate whatever comes next. We owe it to ourselves and to what we've built. She chuckled lightly, a hint of mischief returning. And to our mural. It's pretty epic, after all. Definitely. Let us allow this to be our foundation. If we can paint that, we can color outside the lines of life too. As the weight of the moment seemed to mix with a sense of newfound possibility, a sudden loud cheer erupted from their friends. It jolted them both, a reminder of the world waiting beyond their intimate bubble. Melissa took a deep breath, a smile breaking through the worry that had clouded her eyes. Ready to tell them? Jake hesitated, a rush of fear coursing through him again. Would their friends understand? Would they cheer for a new chapter or doubt their choice to embrace uncertainty? What if they don't react the way we hope? He asked quietly, his confidence flickering. Then we face that too, Melissa said, her voice strong. Either way, we choose honesty. With determination in his heart, Jake nodded and stepped closer to the crowd, ready to face whatever came next. But as he looked back, he couldn't shake a nagging feeling. Was their bridge built to last, or was it a fragile hope poised to crumble? And what was waiting just beyond the horizon, hidden from their view? The moment Jake stepped toward the crowd, the rush of anxiety made his heart race. He felt Melissa's hand firmly clasped in his, a reminder of their connection amidst the uncertainty. The laughter and chatter of their friends filled the air, vibrant and carefree, quite the opposite of the turmoil dancing just beneath the surface for both of them. Hey, everyone! Melissa's voice rang out, clear and bright. It drew instant attention, as heads turned and smiles lit up faces. For a fleeting moment, he felt that flicker of hope reignite. Maybe they would understand. Maybe this leap of faith was the right move. Jake and I have something to share, she continued, her eyes sparkling with a mix of excitement and apprehension. The crowd hushed, a palpable curiosity settling over them like an unexpected chill. Jake's breath hitched as he caught sight of their friends' eager expressions, mostly familiar faces, some newer ones gathering around. He braced himself, knowing that whatever came next could alter the course of their lives, and their friendships. We are planning a road trip, she announced, her voice steady despite the flutter of nerves underneath. To the art festival. It's a new beginning for us together." The reactions ranged from surprised gasps to nods of approval. "That sounds amazing," shouted Jenna, her eyes wide with delight. "You both need that." Jake felt the weight of discontent lift slightly. The murmurs of excitement spread through the group, like electricity charging the atmosphere. A couple of their friends started throwing out ideas for what they should see on their trip, sparking a light-hearted energy that made Jake almost forget the doubts hovering at the edges of his mind. But as hearts grew lighter, so did Jake's fear that swirled like a storm within him. What if this enthusiasm wouldn't last? After the trip, would they slip back into the same old patterns? Would their renewed dreams and honesty fade away when reality came knocking? Melissa smiled back at Jake, seemingly reading his thoughts. "We want to explore this, our art, our dreams," she emphasized. "But we also want to explore what it means to grow together, through the challenges." A thoughtful silence fell, the crowd sensing the shift in tone. "And what if it doesn't work out?" One friend piped up, the question hanging in the air like a cloud in a clear blue sky. The joy dipped for an instant, a reminder of the very fears lurking in the back of Jake's mind. Melissa took a step closer to him, her eyes conveying strength. "Then we'll face it," she said defiantly, her voice growing steady again. "But we're ready to try, and that is what matters." "Exactly," Jake echoed, his confidence returning. "No more letting fear dictate our choices. We're going to be honest with each other." The crowd seemed to rally around them, voices bubbling over with suggestions and excitement for the trip. Laughter broke out, and for a heartbeat, Jake believed in the possibility of this new path. Perhaps they could truly turn the page together, crafting sides of each other's stories they never knew existed. But beneath the surface of laughter, a doubt lingered inside him. He stole a glance at Melissa, whose hopeful smile radiated purity and trust. What if their affair with adventure caused a rift they couldn't mend? And what happens if we find ourselves drifting even further apart, he wondered, quietly pushing through the exhilaration of the moment. The crowd began to move again, voices mixing and plans forming, but Jake remained rooted beside Melissa. He saw the storm of thoughts in her eyes, mirroring his own. In that fleeting juncture, as joy swirled with fear, he felt the weight of two futures hanging in the balance. Would they harness the journey as a unifying force or succumb to the distance that threatened them? As fireworks ignited above, filling the night sky with splashes of color, a question freewheeled through his mind. Could their love withstand not just the challenges of their dreams, but the unforeseen darkness looming beyond the horizon of their adventure? Jake stood at the edge of the crowd, the vibrant bursts of fireworks overhead blinding him for just a moment as they painted the night sky in an explosion of color. He felt a tug at his heartstrings, a mix of excitement and apprehension swirling inside him. Everyone around him was lost in joy, laughter rolling through the air like waves crashing on a beach. But the spark of celebration fell flat against the weight of the uncertainty they faced. Melissa turned to him, her eyes shimmering under the bright lights. "Can you believe how excited they are?" she asked, her voice filled with hope. But Jake couldn't shake the feeling that the deeper bond they were trying to forge was as fragile as the fireworks crumbling into the night. "Yeah, it's amazing," he replied, forcing a smile. The warmth of her hand in his soothed some of his worries, but still, he could see that fear flickering in her gaze. She felt it too, they both did. The chatter continued around them, plans being made for the upcoming road trip, friends eagerly suggesting car games, playlists, and stops along the way. But all Jake could see were the daunting questions lingering, ready to overshadow their newfound courage. As the crowd settled into the joy of shared excitement, Jake pulled Melissa away slightly, finding a quieter corner. He didn't want to stifle her enthusiasm, but he also needed to voice the turmoil building inside him. "What if we get out there and it just doesn't work?" She paused, surprise flooding her face. "Jake, We're not just hoping it will be magical. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. We are making it magical. Together. The determination in her tone seeped into him, kindling a flicker of belief. But the doubts still loomed. What if we clash? What if, in trying to figure out who we are together, we end up losing who we are individually? Melissa took a breath, her expression softening. It's a risk, I know. But isn't that what life is about? Facing fears to find truths. Her words grasped at his heart, tinged with wisdom. He saw flashes of the journey ahead, the winding roads stretching across landscapes, sunset views reflecting their hopes and struggles that could either pull them together or tear them apart. As the crowd erupted into cheers again, something shifted in him. Maybe adventure was the very canvas they needed, the possibility of creating art from their quirks, this unique blend of them if they allowed it. But another thought pierced through, unsettling him. But what if you don't like what you see in me? Her brows knitted as she studied him. What is not to like? You're brave, Jake. You took a risk tonight by standing up in front of everyone. That takes courage. I also worry that the more we share, the closer we'll get to the truth, good or bad. I don't want to blindside you or be blindsided myself. Melissa put her hand on his shoulder, a gentle squeeze full of understanding. The truth might be scary, but it's also liberating. We can either pretend everything is all right or face the reality of who we both are. And at the end of this trip, I want no regrets. The electric energy of the crowd faded momentarily, replaced by a heavy silence thick with their worries and hopes. No regrets, Jake echoed softly. Maybe that was a mantra worth holding on to. Suddenly, a loud pop broke through the stillness, followed by another cascade of colorful sparks. Jake caught a glimpse of the sky, his heart pounding alongside the fireworks in a rhythm he wished he could hold onto indefinitely. But soon, with exhilaration and anticipation fresh in the air, reality came crashing in. What if upon facing the truth they discovered they were more incompatible than they realized? What if their journey of self-discovery led them to painful conclusions? As he looked at Melissa, the warmth of her smile illuminated the dark corners of uncertainty lurking in his heart. Little did he know that this road trip would reveal more than just their passions, it would expose everything they had been hiding from each other. And as the last firework fizzled out, a chilling thought crossed his mind: would they emerge stronger from this journey, or would the truth pull them apart forever? Jake and Melissa stood together watchful, their friends ebullient around them, the colors of the fireworks fading into the inky black sky. Each pop rang like a call calling them toward an adventure that felt both exhilarating and daunting. As the echoes of joy subsided, Jake was acutely aware of the uncertain road ahead. I guess this is it, he said, squeezing Melissa's hand tighter. No going back now. She turned to him, her eyes shimmering under the flickering light like a million tiny stars. I'm ready. After all, we are writing our own story. Even if we don't know the ending yet, it doesn't have to be scary. Jake felt a surge of adrenaline in response to her confidence. It was this uncertainty, the not knowing, that haunted his thoughts. Would exploring their separate dreams push them apart? Or would it draw them closer together, infinitely stronger? His heart raced at the thought. The hazy night air buzzed with the promises of new beginnings as the crowd around them cheered, finalizing plans for the road trip. Forms of excitement swirled in vivid hues around him, but Jake couldn't shake the nagging feeling lurking in the corners of his mind. In the quiet of the night, he leaned toward Melissa. What if we get out there, and what if we just drift? What if everything we've built becomes meaningless because we lose sight of each other? Then we face it, she answered, her voice steady as an anchor. Like we said before, honesty. We talk about it. Trust the bond we've created. This trip is our chance to explore and to not let fears hold us back. Their eyes locked, a silent promise sealing their resolve in that moment. The world around them buzzed, but here they drew quiet strength from one another. As they began to gather their friends for the road trip, Jake felt a gentle nudge of possibility. Maybe it wouldn't be a perfect journey. Maybe he'd face moments of discomfort, but if he was willing to embrace vulnerability, he'd find clarity in the process. "Ready?" Sam called out, his enthusiasm palpable as he hopped in and out of the group, rallying everyone with stories of places they'd visit. The vibrant energy around him was infectious, coaxing a smile to cut through Jake's worries. "Ready?" Melissa echoed, her light infectious. For hours, the road opened up before them, a ribbon of promise stretching through the countryside as the group sang, laughed, and shared stories. The sun climbed higher, bathing everything in golden light, and Jake found himself smiling more and letting go of expectations. As they drove onward, each stretch offered a chance to ponder, and his thoughts kept circling back to Melissa. She looked radiant in the sunshine, her laughter mingling with the cool breeze, and in those moments, a sense of comfort washed over him. Together, they painted visions of what their lives could be. They arrived at the art festival, surrounded by creativity that exploded in a kaleidoscope of colors. Jake's heart swelled as he stepped into the atmosphere, immersed in artistic expressions that felt like a merging of experiences, both shared and individual. "Let us find inspiration," Melissa said, excitement radiating from her bright smile. They walked through booths filled with artists showcasing their work, each piece telling its own story. For the first time in a while, Jake felt a genuine excitement brewing in him. This was what they needed, to see each other through the lens of their passions. But still, the shadows loomed. They browsed through art, but beneath it all, Jake felt the tension of unspoken truths fluttering like a silent beacon of doubt. He sensed they were building toward a moment where honesty would demand its voice. After wandering through galleries, they found a quiet spot under a sprawling oak tree, sketchbooks in hand. Jake turned to her, heart racing again. "We need to talk about the fears we've been feeling." She nodded, placing her sketchbook down as seriousness tempered her expression. "Yes. If we don't address it, everything feels like a fragile dream." The words tumbled into the air between them, vibrating with truth. The uncertainty of their separate aspirations had been a weight on both of their hearts. "I'm scared," Jake admitted. "Scared of losing you, yet I also know we need to chase what we truly want." Melissa's gaze held him, unwavering like a lighthouse. "Me too, Jake. It's a lot to navigate. But I believe that even if we explore what we want individually, it doesn't mean we're losing each other. We're just expanding together." Jake leaned closer, feeling the heat of her honesty. "But what if that expansion pulls us apart? What if what we thought we could share became too vast to overcome?" She took a deep breath, collecting her words. "Then we confront it. We build our own connections along the way and bring them into our shared life. We can redefine what together looks like." A burden was lifting, each word lifting their resolve. He realized the adventure was as much about seeking their own paths as it was about discovering a cohesive future. It would shape them individually, and maybe, just maybe, reshape what it meant for them as a couple. "I want to believe that," Jake smiled, lifting her chin gently with his finger. "I want to trust that we can find our balance." "Yes," she said, her eyes watering slightly. "We owe it to ourselves to try. Together." In that moment, Jake felt like the shadows had flooded away into the night. Here was hope, here was clarity. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the skies in brilliant shades of orange and pink, they shared a breathless kiss, sealing the promises they made within their hearts. It was not just a mere promise, it was commitment to pursue their dreams side by side, even as they ventured on their unique paths. The festival buzzed around them, art and dreams being crafted all around. They would return home with stories woven from honest intentions. Jake felt an unwavering belief wrap around them. Whatever might come next on this winding journey, they would face it, side by side. The world stretched on before them, vast and unknown. But together, they stepped forward, hearts brimming with courage, painting their own destinies where love and adventure intertwined. This was their moment, a fearless leap into the unknown, hand in hand. And in that twilight, as colors danced across the sky, they felt the weight of the world lift. True transformation awaited them, ready to unfold with every new stroke of their lives. As this chapter draws to a close, we invite you to join the adventure that continues beyond the story. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand how vital it is to back the channel through these actions.